Yeah, welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television. We're providing farmers with financial protection against production losses caused by natural perils such as drought, excessive moisture, hail, frost, wind, and wildlife. Aptly captures what agricultural insurance means. But here in Nigeria, generally, the trust in insurance is very low. So when one talks about insuring agriculture, I just wonder. But we have an individual with a first-hand experience in this, Mr. African Farmer Mogaji, Chief Executive Officer of Farm Credit, to tell us what's going on with insurance and how important it is. Good morning, Mr. Mogaji.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Well, how popular is insurance in your sector with the farmers?
Well, insurance is not popular at all. And from data published in Punch last year with a meeting that they had, less than 5% of farmers still get agri insurance. It's not popular. Many farmers don't even know agri insurance exists.
But how necessary is it?
Oh, it's the only way to go because the sector is heavily dependent on rain, climatic conditions, on weather vagaries. So you need insurance.
And pests, I think.
And pests, yes. We do have pests, but with pests, you have solutions, either biological or non-biological, but basically things out of your control. You know, climate mostly, either you get too much rain or you don't have enough rain. And yeah, with the pests, you can have invasions. You know, like currently the government acknowledges through Daily Trust last week that there's some form of invasion of locusts in some northern states, you know, so you have to insure because you can't handle that.
Yeah, because I do remember in the midst of COVID, I even had to cover some farmers, piggery, poultry. They had invasion, and they lost a lot of livestock. It was terrible.
Yes, that's with the bird flu and the African swine fever.
Yes.
There's no solution. So if you don't insure, you lose it all.
So why has it not been embraced? Is it because, I mean, when you look at the climate, for instance, Nigeria has a relatively stable climate. Is it because of that?
No.
Or why do you think?
No, so
it's just we don't trust in insurance. We don't believe they will come through when we need them.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of apathy when it comes to insurance. And it's not real, really. It's basically what people have said, word of mouth, that almost everybody has come to believe. But from experience, agri insurance still works in Nigeria.
It still works. So we have to convince the farmers.
Yes.
I mean, in these days when we are talking about the threat to food security, there needs to be something to ensure the little that we have so that we don't end up losing that. So I hope we can achieve that at the end of this conversation.
I hope so. I hope so. You know, so many people don't believe in the insurance, and also you have some challenges with the insurance companies, except for government. Government's insurance company is still the most efficient and effective, but they can still do better vis-a-vis how long they've been in the sector for 30-something years. The private sector insurance companies, you know, they just do copy and paste. When it comes to like implementation, there's a lot of talk and less action. Just very few people can do that.
Okay, so I think when it comes to insurance, it's not just about agriculture. Even apart from agriculture, I mean, I know that the government has been trying to convince Nigerians on even car insurance for a very long time. And a lot of Nigerians are still not convinced, property insurance and all of that. But when you say that the government companies are more reliable, it seems odd, because normally the private sector seems to come through better, more dependable, more efficient in businesses than government. So I'm trying to wrap my mind around that.
So like the Nigeria Agri Insurance is actually run private sector, but owned by government.
Explain that, please.
Yes, so you have them operate like any private sector, but the beautiful thing about that is that 50% of the premium is already paid by government, and this is running almost 35 years, so it's already paid by government, shared with the state. So you pay the premium. So whatever premium you pay 50% of the premium. But it is run like a private sector business, not government. But government, so funding and core affected a bit. But and when you check it, most insurance, you don't have claims, regularly. You might have claim once in 3 years, once in 5 years, So that gives insurance companies also some cushion to be able to run, especially the government insurance. And they're in every state of the nation. Every state of the nation. I've engaged them since 1997. And I still have a good relationship across the country. So it's working, it's functional. There may be some delays because of lack of efficient funding, but they are still operating more effective, and they can carry more shock than other private sector insurance companies.
Why should the private sector get involved? If the government, using public funds, can do 50%, it obviously makes it easier and cheaper for them, to run the business. And I want to believe then they can offer better costs,
yes,
better, maybe lower premium to the farmers. So, I mean, why should the private sector get involved then if the government is doing 50%?
The insurance sector is very huge. Government can't cover it alone. When it comes to speed, efficiency, you will find the private sector, keep moving faster. Everything is naira and kobo profit driven. So you would find quite a lot of people, especially the big players, tilting towards the private sector because they know they can get things done, they can negotiate. But with government, there's still some bureaucracy involved. So for the smallholder farmers, government is best for them, and there's now almost 97% of the farmers, while for the big players, the private sector. And we need quite a lot of more private sector to come in, because the more competition you have, the more flexibility, the more innovations, the more products we would have. So we actually need more private sector to come in, and we have very few, a handful of the insurance companies are there. And some of them even take the insurance and reinsure with government insurance companies.
Yeah, reinsure with government. So you have been dealing in this for about 2 decades or more.
Yes.
Give us a first-hand experience. Have you had to claim, make some claims? Give us an idea of the process and the timing, which of course is very important to any business person.
Yes.
And of course the bureaucracy and what it costs you, and then what you got at the end of the day. So
there are two perspectives. I'll share when you don't get any claim and when you get. I've had quite a lot of my clients who have gotten claims. So the process is, after you insurance, the process, you get them, you fill a form, they come to inspect your farm. Ideally, if it's for crops, it's 2 weeks after germination. If it's for livestock, they want to see what they are insuring. So once they issue you that policy, if you have a claim, it is statutory that within 48 hours, you must communicate with the insurance company to come visit. And so if you do that, then you will get a claim, provided the details you gave them at inception is right. So you don't find the insurance companies say, you said your farm is 50 acres. They may not really check. But when there's claim, they will measure everything. So if it is 40 acres, you are not going to get a claim because you've lied.
No, I think these are part of the discouraging factors, because one would have expected that if I claim that my farm is 40 hectares and then I say that I have these crops and I want to insure against pests, for instance, then you will come and check and whatever I have claimed and ensure, and then we both put pen and paper, and then we have an agreement that this 40 hectares of land has been insured. Now, if you don't check, and then you only check when I'm asking for, I mean...
So in the document, it's written that the facts you provided has been confirmed by
the little print. I think that's what you guys call it.
No, it's not even little, it's bold. But the challenge we always have is, and it has happened to me before, where you rent a land and per segment, you've measured like 5, and there's remaining 2, and maybe there's bad weather, so okay, 5 has been accurate, so you just forget the 2. But much later, you now find out that instead of each segment being 20 hectare, that's about 50 acres, you now find that 20 acre, instead of 50, it's now 25, the last 2. So with you, you just feel, oh, you've done 5 out of 7, it's okay. But when there's claim and they check round, so bottom line is that...
Which is why the insurance company should check at the beginning.
So the truth about it is that all insurance companies in Nigeria are understaffed. It takes a lot for traveling, to visit those rural communities. So they are understaffed. And those agri insurance departments for companies that have other insurance portfolios, they are also understaffed and underfunded. So that's where you have that. Another, so you have quite a lot of clients who have gotten funding. Maybe the rain stops, they've gotten. However, in recent times, we've had challenges, especially COVID, post-COVID era, Reimbursement, NSAS, all those issues affected. And what would normally happen is that, so take for instance my scenario where the farm, you insure, you don't insure, when your staffs are afraid to be killed or assaulted by bandits or herdsmen and they run away. That is not covered by any insurance.
It's not covered by insecurity?
Insecurity is there's a riot. If there's no riot...
Or there's an attack or invasion into the farm?
Yes, attack or invasion into the farm, yes. But when there's no attack or invasion into the farm, but around the farm, but the staff run for their lives, that is not covered.
Maybe we should create a policy for that too.
That is...
Because, it's happening in the world.
Oh, it's happening, and that's why a lot of farmers, especially medium and large, are having to shut down. And so many of them also take high interest, and most sign checks as collateral before. So you find many investors who have been patient, but hey, if you could not complete the project and you lose everything, you can't honor the check. So you have quite a lot of people paying the checks so that you're on the speed trying to get their money. So instead of trying to produce, you are trying to get the money, but hey, you lost almost everything. So that's what happened to me also. These things are real, but bottom line, we need more creative insurance. We need government to even fund their insurance company, because they can, they have buffers to be able to handle that, to be able to give us more creative insurance policies.
So when we talk about food security, I think this is another area that it can be assured, especially in these times that are not very friendly at all. We have a lot of things hitting at supply, hitting at the farmers. You have fertilizer, and a whole lot of things that are standing in the way of providing food for Nigerians.
So let me balance the conversation also. So you have the government insurance, and currently it's only the government insurance company doing it, where for any livestock, it's 2.5% of your total cost of production that will be paid as premium. So when you have like the bird flu, there's what you call extension, another 2.5% on it. For like African swine, I think that is 5%, so you pay 7.5%. But they've added the Eda attack, which is you pay 1% extra, but you need to get dogs.
This is unique to Nigeria. Do they have it in other countries?
No, I've related across West Africa, Ghana, Burkina. They don't have all those. In fact, Nigeria's agri insurance is still way the most extensive, the most robust. However, inadequate we think it is, across West Africa.
Yeah, but the least patronized.
Yeah, the least patronized. So we need to have government put a lot of funding in creating that awareness, because it's subsidized, and we need the insurance private sector also to be all out. They're talking a lot But when it comes to the implementation, many of them, are not really doing the work. They are doing the insurance like other insurance, but agri is unique. So there's a lot of good, beautiful designs, but the implementation, no, because we worked with quite a number of them to ensure that they have what they have today.
Talking about insurance, making insurance attractive generally, not just for agriculture. I know there was a conversation of reimbursement. So if I keep paying an insurance on my car, for instance, and the first year I don't use it, the second year there should be some sort of reimbursement. There's tax rebate, perhaps, because I mean, if as a farmer you struggle in the midst of your lean resources and outputs, and then you get an insurance, and then the first year you do not need it, the second year you do not lay any claims, if you get something, it could give you your mind somewhere that, oh, even if I don't have to claim, I would still get something while also being insured.
So you get some discounts. I know that exists. I can speak for the government insurance because, we've done that. But for the private sector, it's very, very meager. What you get is very meager because they run pure commercial business. While for the government, you get good discounts on the insurance. If you don't make claims in 2 years, 3 years, you get good discounts on it.
Okay. And then with COVID, insurance practitioners were talking about getting a policy for pandemic. Do we have anything like that now?
No, we don't. What can be equated also to a pandemic is an epidemic devastation. So like if you have like the locusts that ravage like North Africa, if you have locusts invade almost all the northern states because they border those northern areas, then if ideally, like insurance is supposed to pay you 90% of your cost of production, they would adjust it. And that adjustment may go really down because it cuts across regions. And they can't handle, don't forget, you pay 2.5% of 100,000 is meager, it's volume. So when you now have it across like 2-3 regions, they can't pay. So government needs to come into that, and many insurance companies also will come on board.
Wow. A lot of things for government to do.
Yeah.
But that's why they are the hem of affairs.
And also to get the youths involved, because I'm big on the youths now, we can't feed ourselves without the youths now, is they need to come up with insurance policies to woo the youths to say, hey, whatever you do is insured, like a national insurance scheme for youths is insured. So the youths wants to come in that, okay, we'll put in our best, but we won't lose everything if something happens.
When we talk about the youth getting involved in agriculture, I think it starts with mechanized farming.
Yes.
The youth don't want to get their hands dirty. And you don't blame them because you also want to have enough yield.
Yes, semi-mechanized. Fully mechanization may not work right now because our lands, the maintenance, spare parts for those equipments, but semi-mechanized, adopting something we have in China, in India, that will work. But all those full mechanized things you see online,
in China?
No.
Let's be realistic.
Sustainability here may be a challenge. So you can increase yield by like 50%, 70%, but those big equipments don't work here. You find them moribund after 3 years.
Wow. Okay, it's a huge conversation. Food security is on top of the list now after inflation.
Yes.
I mean, it's right in the midst of inflation anyway. Thank you so much, Mr. African Farmer Mogaji, Chief Executive Officer of Farm Credit Nigeria, NG. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me again.